Hey guys, so today we're going to go through the standard mathematics mock test for assessment task 1, and we're going to go through some measurement and algebra stuff. So let's have a look at question 1. Question 1 says, a table is measured to be 3.6 meters long. Part A says, what is the precision? Now in order to calculate the precision, the way I do it is I'll go 1 up and 1 down. So if I go 1 down is 3.5, 1 up is 3.7. We're going up and down by 0.1 meters. That's the difference that we're going up by. Our precision is the smallest unit of measurement that we use to measure something. And in this case, the smallest unit of measurement we're using is 0.1 meters. Part B says, calculate the absolute error. Now the absolute error formula is given on your reference sheet. The absolute error formula is absolute error equals half times precision. We already found precision to be 0.1. So absolute error is going to equal half times 0.1. And when we chuck that in the calculator, we get 0.05 meters. It's going to be plus or minus. Why is it plus or minus? Because the absolute error can be plus 0.05 meters or minus 0.05 meters. And that formula is given on the reference sheet. Let's look at part C. Calculate the limits of accuracy. Now the limits of accuracy are going to be the upper bound and the lower bound. And both those formulas are given on the reference sheet. So the upper bound is given by whatever the measurement is plus the absolute error. Well, what was our measurement? Our measurement originally was 3.6. So it's going to be 3.6 plus our absolute error, which we found to be 0.05. which equals 3.65 meters. Our lower limit, again on the reference sheet, is your measurement, 3.6 minus 0.05. That's where the plus minus comes into play. And we get 3.55. So our limit of accuracy is somewhere between 3.55 meters, which is your lower bound, all the way to 3.65 meters, which is your upper bound. Part D, calculate the percentage error. Now the percentage error is the first formula that is not given on the reference sheet, and you need to memorize this formula. Percentage error equals absolute error over your original measurement times by 100. So let's chuck that in all, substitute the formula in. Percentage error equals your absolute error, which was 0.05, over your original, which was 3.6 times by 100. And we get a decimal that is irrational and it continues. So we're going to round this off. It's 1.38 repeater. I'm going to round that off to 2 decimal places, 1.39% to dp. Now, in this question, it doesn't tell me what to round off to, so I need to make that judgment and I need to indicate that. Very important that you write down what you're rounding off to if the question doesn't ask you. Question 2. The formula y equals 2x plus 3. What is the impact of y when x is increased by 10? So for this, we're going to use something called test data. What test data is let's say we find y when it's 10 and then we increase it by 10 and find y when it's 20. What happens to x? Sorry, what happens to y? So sorry, that's when x is 10 and when we increase it by 10 and make it 20, what happens to y? So let's look at this. Y equals 2 times 10 plus 3. 2 times 10 is 20, plus 3 is 23. Now let's sub that in for 20. Y equals 2 times 20 plus 3. 43. What was the difference in these answers? 20. So the answer here would be that when we increase x by 10, y increases by 20. We're looking at the relationship. So we use test data. We make up the numbers. You can make any numbers you want up as long as the second one is 10 more than the first one. So you could use 1 and 11, 100 and 110, whatever you want to use. Question 3. Solve the following equations. Now in part A, it's 3x, 3 times x. The inverse or opposite of 3 times is divided by 3. Whatever I do on one side, I must do on the other side. X equals 6 divided by 3, which is 2. Now with 3b, I have pronumerals on both sides. I have 2x and I have 6x. When you have pronumerals on both sides, you take the smaller one across. I want to get all the x's onto one side. So the smaller one here is 2x. So I do minus 2x, minus 2x. That gets rid of that. I have 3 equals 4x plus 10. Then I'm going to take the 10 across to get the x's by itself. And I'm left with minus 7 equals 4x. And then to get the x by itself, I got to divide it by 4, divided by 4, and therefore I have x equals minus 7 over 4. And I can't simplify that any further, so I leave it as a fraction. I do not round it off as a decimal. I leave it as a fraction. Next one. So there's two ways of doing this. You can expand the brackets first, or you can just do the times. I'm going to expand brackets because that's what I'm used to. 2x plus 12 equals 100. And then we take the 12 across. 2x equals 100 minus 12, which is 88. And then we divide it by 2, which is 44. Question 4. The area of a triangle is given by the formula A equals half BH. And this is a formula that you need to memorize. We know it. Calculate the value of A when B equals 10. So we're going to put 10 there. And H equals 15. So let's sub that into the formula. A equals half times 10 times 15. 10 times 15 is 150. 150 divided by 2 equals 75. I'm just going to write units squared because there's no units given. 4b, find H now. We're going to have to rearrange the formula. So when A equals 100, so we have 100 equals half times 50 times H. We don't know what H is. That's what we're trying to find out. We can simplify these two numbers. Half times 50. So we've got 100 equals 25 times H. And then we just divide the 25 across. H equals 4. Because 100 divided by 25 is 4. Next question. Question 5. Make R the subject. So we have a few variables there. We have a few numbers. We want to get R by itself. So remember, leave whatever is directly with the pronumeral till last. So we're going to leave the R squared till right at the end. Now, because everything's being multiplied on this side, I can divide what I don't need across. So I can divide the third and pi and the H across onto both sides. So I get R squared equals V over a third pi H. Now, before I get rid of the squared, I need to simplify this. So how do I simplify this? So I have R squared equals V, because a fraction line means divided by. So I can write divided by 1 over 3 pi H. So pi H stays up the top. And I don't need to put the 1 there. So let's get rid of the 1. Now, when we divide fractions, we flip the last one and we multiply. So this V is going to be over 1. So now we have R squared equals V over 1 times 3 over pi H. And when we simplify that, you have 3V over pi H. Now that I've simplified that, I can get rid of the squared. The inverse of squared is square root both sides. And I have R equals plus minus square root of 3v over pi h. And that's my final answer. Question 6. Calculate the perimeter and the area of the following shape. Now, in order to do perimeter, I need to know all the outside lengths. I know that's 10. I know that's 4. I know this is 4 as well, because you can see the, this is 3. How do I know it's 3? Because those two lines mean they're all equal. So I'm going to write that there. That's 3. I know that's 10. And I'm still missing some outside lengths. I'm missing this length here. And I'm missing the hypotenuse of that triangle. So let's find the hypotenuse first. I know that's 3. So it's going to be, if I use Pythagoras, 4 and 3, make that x. X squared equals 4 squared plus 3 squared, and therefore x is going to equal 5 when you do Pythagoras there. So I found that. I still have this here. So in order to find that, I'm going to find the circumference of a whole circle, and then I'm going to divide it by 4 because that's an equal quarter. So circumference equals pi d, where in this case diameter equals 6. Why is diameter 6? Because a radius is 3 and diameter is double the radius. Or you can write 2 pi r, which is probably another way of writing it. I should write it that way. 2 pi r, where the radius equals 3. So this is going to be 2 times pi times 3. Because it is a quarter, I'm going to divide it by 4. 2 times pi times 3 divided by 4. 2 times pi times 3 divided by 4 gives me 4.7123 dot dot dot. Now 4.7123 dot dot dot. The perimeter of this shape is going to be all the sides added up. So I like to start from one side, 5, 10, that. I like to circle all the numbers. Remember, it's the outside of a shape, the total outside of a shape. So all those numbers added up, 5 plus 10 plus 4.7123 plus 3 plus 10 plus 4. So if you go all the way around from the start, you make sure you're adding all the sides up. 5 plus 10 plus 4.7123 plus 3 plus 10 plus 4. And the perimeter is going to equal 36.7123 dot dot dot. And because the question hasn't asked me to round off, I'm going to round off to 2 decimal places, whatever you want, as long as you write in brackets there. So we found the perimeter. Now we need to find the area. So I'm going to split this into a number of sections. I'm going to have A, B, and C. So area of A, that's a triangle. So it's going to be half times base times height, where the base of that triangle is 4 and the height is 3. Area of B, that's a rectangle. So it's just going to be short side times long side, which is 10 times 3. And the last one is a quarter of a circle. So we're going to do pi times radius squared, and we're going to divide that by 4. So you have 6, 30, 7.0685 dot dot dot. Total area equals, we add all these up, and I get 43.068, and I'm going to round this off to 2 decimal places and indicate that there. So you just find the area of each of those 3 shapes separately and just add it up. Next question. Calculate the volume of the following two significant figures. So this question already asked me what I need to round off to. So the volume of a prism is the area of the front times the height. So this is a rectangle. So it's going to be 4 times 3, and the height is 10. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 10 is 120 meters cubed. Now, the volume of a sphere is given on the formula sheet, 4/3 pi r cubed, and because it is half a sphere, I'm going to divide that by 2. So here I have 4/3, I'm going to put the top in brackets, times pi times 3.5 cubed. That is where kids will go wrong. Make sure you follow the formula. It is cubed all over 2 because it is half a sphere. It's very important to use brackets for the top here. $89.797 ... Two significant figures. First significant figure is your first non-zero number, 3, 9. That 7 is going to impact that 9 and make that 40 centimeters cubed. Question 8. A roof measures 100 by 100 meters. We know it takes 5 cans to paint 5 by 5. How many cans will it take to paint the roof? So let's do the area of the roof. The roof's area is going to be 100 times 100, which is 10,000. What we know is that 5 times 5, which is 25, takes 5 cans. So we just divide that by what we know. So we do 10, 1, 2, 3, divided by 25, gives me 400. I have 400 of these 25 meter squared blocks to put in, and each block takes 5 cans. So I do 400 times 5, and that's going to give me 2,000 cans I need. Question 9. Calculate the surface area of the following. So with surface area is each outside shape of a 3D object. So if I look at this shape here, I have a front, and the back is the same as the front, so I can do those together. I have side, and the other side, they're identical. And I have top, and I have bottom, and they're identical as well. So if I use this structure and calculate each shape, I can find the total surface area. The front and back is 4 times 3. 4 times 3, and there's 2 of them, so I'm going to multiply that by 2. The side is 10 times, that's 4, so that's 4. 10 times 4. And there's 2 of them, so I'm going to multiply that by 2. Top and bottom, well, the bottom is 3 times 10. And there's 2 of them, so I'll multiply by 2. 4 times 3 is 12, 12 times 2 is 24. 10 times 4 is 40, 40 times 2 is 80, 3 times 10 is 30, 30 times 2 is 60. Adding those all up, you get 4, 16, 164 meters squared. So we just found each side separately and then added all the answers up. For part B, we know the surface area of a cylinder's formula that is given on your formula sheet. So your surface area equals 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh. And in this question, the radius equals, what's that, 10? That's a diameter. Radius will be half of diameter. So radius equals 5 and the height equals 16. I always like to write down so I don't sub in the wrong values. So surface area is going to equal 2 times pi times the radius, which is 5 squared, plus 2 times pi times the radius, which is 5, times the height, which is 16. And you get 659.734 dot dot dot. I'm gonna round this off to 2 decimal places again, even though the question doesn't tell me what to, but I'm gonna make that judgment. Meters squared to dp. So you're just substituting into a formula there. Now C is a little bit different. We have our front, which is the same as the back. And we have the front top, which is the same as the back top. We have the side and the side, and we just have a bottom here. The top's not equal here. And then we have this top, which is separate. So we're gonna have to do a few different sides. So let's do bottom front plus bottom back, sorry. They're identical. Then we have bottom side plus bottom side. And then we're gonna have just the base. Now that's all of the bottom done there. Let's do the top now. You have top front plus top back, that's identical. You have the top, the whole top, that top there. And you can label this whatever you want as long as you understand. And we also have the sides, top side plus top side. And I know they're identical because of this there. That's showing me that they're identical in distance, so they are identical sides. So let's do the back front and the back. Sorry, the base front and the base back. So you have, for the bottom, you have 10 times. That line means that it's 10 as well. So you have 10 times 10, and you have 2 of them. For the side, you have 5 times 10. 5 times 10, and you have 2 of them. For the base, you have 10 times 5, and it's only 1 of it. So that's all done, quite simple. Now we do the top front. That is a trapezium, so we're gonna have to use a trapezium formula. The trapezium formula is h over 2, the height being 7 here. 7 over 2. Times A and B. A is 6, this is all 10. So it's going to be times 6 times 10, 6 plus 10, sorry, A plus B. And because there's 2 of them, I'm going to multiply by 2. Now the top is just 6 times, well, what's this going to be? That's 5 there, so that we're assuming that's 5 as well. 6 times 5. And the sides, now we have to figure out this here. And how are we going to figure that out? Well, let's make that triangle. Now to make that triangle, this is x, this is what we're trying to figure out, right? And we know this is 7, and this base, how much is that? Well, this is all 10, and this is 6. So 10 minus 6 is 4. And I know I equally have to split that 4 in those 2 sides there. So that base is going to be 2. And we use Pythagoras theorem. X squared equals 7 squared plus 2 squared. Therefore, x equals 7 squared plus 2 squared. Square root answer, 7.28. I'm rounding that off to 2 dp. So the sides here are going to be 7.28 times this, which is 5. And because there's 2 of them, we're going to multiply that by 2. Now, I have to find all of those answers, and I need to add them up. So I got 200 here, I got 100 here, I got 50 here. I'm going to try and keep them in a line. I got 7 over 2 times 6 plus 10 times 2, 112 here. 7.28 times 5 times 2, 72.8. So total surface area is going to equal all of these added up. Which equals 534.8 centimeters squared. So it looks difficult, but it's really not. It's quite one of the easiest probably questions there. Question D. What is the capacity of 9A, B, and C? Well, before I calculate capacity, I need to first calculate their volume. So let's calculate the volume of A. The volume of A, it's a rectangular prism, so we do the front times the depth. So 4 times 3 times 10, which is 120 meters cubed. The volume of B is a cylinder, so it's pi r squared h, where radius here is 5 and h is 16. So pi radius is 5, r squared times 16. Pi times 5 squared times 16, which equals 1256.637061. Now I'm not going to do C because it's a little bit different. You have to find the volume of the base and volume of the top and add it together, but you can do that and figure that out. Now with capacity, the thing that you need to remember is that 1 meter cubed equals 1,000 liters. You need to memorize this. It is not given on the reference sheet. It is something you need to memorize. So here, in order to find the capacity, I'm just going to multiply all of these by 1,000. And this is going to be 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3 liters. This is going to be 3 hops, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 5, 6, 637.06 liters to dp. I rounded off to 2 decimal places. And you can write that in kiloliters as well, or liters. The question here is fine. Now, the only tip I'm going to give you is for C, in order to do meters cubed, you need to convert all of these centimeters to meters first and then find the volume. If you do it in centimeters, it becomes a little bit more difficult. Not impossible, but a little bit more difficult. So make sure you convert your unit of measurements into meters before you do the volume so that you can use this very simple conversion. Question 10. Clark's formula is used to determine the dosage of medicine for children. The formula is the dosage equals the weight in kilograms times the adult dose all over 70. Now this question says the adult daily dosage of medicine contains 6300 milligrams. So I'm going to write that there, that's going to go there. A child who weighs 70 kilograms is to be given tablets each containing 1050 milligrams of this drug. How many tablets should this child be given? So let's figure out what the dosage is of each tablet first. So we got dosage equals 70 times 6300 all over 70. 70 times 6300 divided by 70 gives me 6300 milligrams. This child is meant to take 1050 milligrams. So how many tablets are they meant to take? So here we then do 6300 divided by 1050, and they're meant to take 1/6 of a tablet. Question 11. Calculate the area of the annulus, meaning just the donut section of this. This up a bit. So if I use a highlighter, it's just going to be this section here. Now, in order to find that section there, I need to find the area of the big circle minus the area of the small circle. So, in order to do that, how do we find the area of a circle? It's pi r squared. So it's going to be area of the big circle. What's the area of the big circle? Pi times, what's the rate? 10 is the diameter, radius is going to be 5 squared, minus the area of the small circle, pi r. What's radius for the small circle? 2.5. That's simple. Pi times 5 squared minus pi times 2.5 squared, which gives me 58.9048. Now I'm going to round that off. The question doesn't ask me to round it off to a particular, so I'm just going to do 2 decimal places, and this is in meters. And that's how simple that is. Hopefully that helped you. All the best, guys.